house will engage educational institutions in the fight against environmental degradation. This house will engage educational institutions in the fight against environmental degradation. From the panel, these are the teams that managed to move from the first round and are proceeding. They should prepare for the second round using that same resolution. The first one to prepare is Accra. Accra, prepare for the next round. Cape Town, prepare for the next round. Kampala, prepare for the next round. Kigali, prepare for the next round. Mogadishu, prepare for the next round. Victoria, prepare. Khartoum, prepare. Nairobi, prepare. Those are the teams we are going to have for the next round, round 2. And these are the fixtures. This is how it is going to be.
Society and have effect on the human life. Our dear judges, allow me introduce to you our resolution tonight. Our resolution tonight states that this house shall engage education institutions in the fight of environmental degradation. Our dear judges, allow me to first explain the keywords in the resolution. We have environmental degradation, then education institutions. Our dear judges, environmental degradation simply means the lowering of the quality and productivity of the environment. Education institutions are just places where we get the acquisition of knowledge and skills about certain things that may help us in life as citizens of this nation. Our dear judges, allow me to give you the status quo tonight. Currently, as you are affirming this resolution, we would like to give you the current situation of this nation. This nation is facing a number of problems. We have got, well, as the resolution has stated, the nation is experiencing many problems in the education sector, as in control of environmental degradation. Many schools have focused on the academic part of students, little knowing that also bringing out the environment to its beauty will also help them as they live in life. Our dear judges, I would like to inform you at this very juncture that our body as friends of nature have got branches like roots and shoots, wildlife clubs that are engaging children in practical work like planting of trees in this nation. They are encouraging children about the advantages and disadvantages of environmental degradation. This is where now the school-going children are getting the content about the hazardous outcomes of environmental degradation. Our dear judges, allow me to give you our perimeters. Our perimeters are within the East African community. Our dear judges, our plan is to form clubs in schools and engage them in practical work in fight against environmental degradation. Our dear judges, allow me break a leg to my fellow colleague to come and elaborate more about the theme. Allow me rest my case.
Fellow competitors, all designated guests in this august house, ladies and gentlemen, I salute you. My name is Bambwin Fred, a speaker from Cape Town. Our dear judges, the theme tonight states climate change phenomenon. Our dear judges, allow me to explain the keywords in this theme. Climate. Climate is the average weather condition in a given area over a long period of time. Change. Change is to replace something with something else, or to make someone the keywords in this resolution. Environmental degradation. Environmental degradation is the lowering down the natural appearance of the environment. Education institutions are places where people go to acquire knowledge and skills. Our dear judges, our perimeter bases in Uganda. In Uganda, over 200,000 deaths are witnessed due to climate change, and 80 economic million losses are observed. The most districts affected by climate change in Uganda are Kasese, Mbale, Kapchorwa, Bulambuli, Siroko, and Manafa. Our dear judges, in Kasese, over 13 sub-counties were affected. However, the most affected ones were Kilembe, Bulembia, Central Division, Nyamaba, and Kalsandara, where around 270 people from 45 households were displaced. Our dear judges, according to the New Vision reporter, John Chawuti has opted for May 2022 indicated that at least 11 people lost their lives after being washed off by River Rubiria in Pambre. Imagine, our dear judges, 11 people dying. Our dear judges, for the purpose of today's debate, we are setting our house as the Ministry of Water and Environment. With the Ministry of Water and Environment, we have the following plans. We are going to hold radio talk shows in the communities. Our second plan is we shall organize community dialogues. The third plan is we are going to hold LOCM meetings. Thank you, our dear judges. Here I submit.
And as our house has stated, Friends of Nature House. Our plan was to form clubs in schools in order to sensitize the general community about climate change. We as the farmers, we are going to make sure we join forces with education institutions in the fight of environmental degradation in Uganda. Dear judges, for the purposes of today's debate, I would like to inform the general public the uses of clubs in schools. Clubs help in education of children, although teachers give some extra education called remedial. If we form these clubs in schools, they will help the schools and the community in order to stop the things that you can help me and note that down. I'll come to it, please. The things that the community do when they are degrading the environment. One of them is dumping garbage on their land. Another one is dumping and putting dangerous chemicals from industries into the water sources. This has greatly affected with the people and the animals. If the people pour those chemicals into the water, the marine animals or aquatic animals will have to die and lose life. That will also hinder our tourism sector. Allowed.
Our dear judges, is it in order for the Honorable Member of Parliament to mistake the resolution? The resolution is, this House shall engage education institutions in the fight against environmental degradation.
Thank you for that observation, but you raised your point of inquiry, or let me say point of order, when I had noted exhausted my point. Thank you. As I was still saying, we shall form clubs in the school, which we shall fund the clubs that will help to transfer the information to the general public, because each and every child who in the school comes from a neighboring community. So if we as the Friends of Nature which form those clubs in the school, we shall be able to fight environmental degradation in the school as well as the environment. I still stand as brave as a lion on our point or our plan. Our plan will be the best because everyone in the community.
Big short designated girls, fellow competitors, ladies Our dear judges, they came here talking about introducing environmental degradation clubs in schools. Our dear judges, don't you think that these are farmers are basing on the same sector? Our dear judges, they are basing on the education institutions. But how shall we cater for our mothers in homes? Our dear judges, we as the negators, we are going to engage cultural institutions. We believe that every person belongs to any cultural institution. For example, in Kasese, many of people in Kasese belong to Rule. Our dear judges, if we engage these cultural institutions, they will pass sensitization to their people and everyone will be
Point of information.
advised.
Point of information.
Our dear judges, if we also engage the religions, because we well know that people go to churches, if we engage these leaders,
Information.
I'm sorry, don't interrupt my speech. Our dear judges, if we engage these religious leaders, they will pass information in churches. And our mothers at home who have gone to church will be able to get this information. But if we only
Point of information.
engage education institutions, how will we cater for the poor people? Point of information granted.
Thank you for giving me this opportunity once again. But you, the negators, it's like you want to throw mud in the audience's eyes. When we talked of, or when we stood on our part, you know, we are. Thank you.
We are going to engage cultural leaders so that they can sensitize their people. And we are, in addition to that, we are going to organize chairperson local council meetings so that these people in the villages can get the information.
It is one question at a time.
Thank you for that.
You gave us a point that you will engage the head teachers to start environmental degradation clubs. How will you cater for those who don't have children in schools? How will they get the information?
Thank you for that question, and I'm glad that you were understanding me. But there is one thing you did not pick. You have asked us that how shall we cater for those who don't have children in school. Of course, the government introduced the UBE program, and it has those children from local schools, from local villages, and those children who don't go to school also somewhere in the local villages. So they will have friends who will tell them the information that such and such a thing has happened at our school and they need to do this and this.
Thank you. Thank you for your nice presentations. Both teams, can you please shake hands? Can you shake hands?
The next person.
Environmental degradation. Dear judges, what is environmental degradation? This is the lowering the natural beauty of land, of the environment. Dear judges, education institutions are places where people go to acquire knowledge and skills. Dear judges, in Uganda, over 200,000 deaths are witnessed, and Kalsandara. Our dear judges, in Kasese, over 13 sub-counties were affected. However, the most affected ones were Kilembe, Mulambia, Central Division, Nyamamba Division, and Kalsandara, where around 270 people from 45 households have been displaced. Our dear judges, according to the New Vision reporter, John Tawiti, as of 24th May 2022, indicated that at least 11 people had lost their lives after being washed off by the Riha in Impondwe. Our dear judges, can you imagine 11 people dying? Our dear judges, our perimeter bases on Uganda. Now, as the farmers, our plans are as follows. We are going to introduce environmental degradation topics in all curriculums. We are going to sensitize education institutions through televisions, radio talk shows, and community dialogues. Thank you, our dear judges. Here I raise my case. Us will engage education institutions in the fight against environmental degradation. Our dear judges, first and foremost, what is education institutions? These are the buildings which help children to acquire knowledge. Our dear judges, environmental degradation, it is the damaging of the environment and its productivity. Our dear judges, first and foremost, last year in Uganda, Nyamamba flooded and it took many households in Uganda, and that led to shortage of funds. By this I mean people were given money by the government and we lost some revenue income. So our dear judges, as delegators, we are saying no. We shall not engage institutions in the fight against environmental degradation, but evict strict laws. These strict laws, they will help people to know the dangers of environmental degradation. So our dear judges, our perimeters are in Uganda. Our dear judges, allow me to rest my case. Our dear judges, how are we going to make sure that our parents, grandmothers, and relatives whom we have left home know about the dangers of environmental degradation? Our dear judges, we believe that if these pupils and students are taught about the dangers of environmental degradation, they will take the information to their homes and tell their parents,
watch the information that carries the dangers of environmental degradation, they'll grow up knowing. Thank you, the judges. Here I rest my case.
A pupil from Victoria. Our dear judges, I have come here to build on our plan. This house shall engage education institutions in the fight against environmental degradation. Our dear judges, we as delegators, we shall not engage these education institutions in the fight against environmental degradation, but we shall rather engage cultural institutions and religious institutions. Our dear judges, as we all know that most of the people in Uganda have culture and they have their cultural leaders. Our dear judges, once these cultural institutions tell people on how to control environmental degradation, people will easily understand and allow and respect and do the needful. Our dear judges, once these religious institutions sensitize the community against environmental degradation, they will easily follow and do all the protocols to control environmental degradation. Our dear judges, we as the Ministry of Cultural Institutions in Uganda, we shall put strict laws against those people who practice environmental degradation. Our dear judges, as we all know that most of the areas that are being affected by environmental degradation is that they don't have strict laws. But once we apply these strict laws, they will easily help in the conservation of our environment, whereby those people who practice environmental degradation will be arrested and the rest will learn from those who have been arrested, and this will help in the conservation of our environment. They were given those land titles and building plans by the officials in NEMA, but now you see, they are the same. It is the same company that is coming to evict these people. Granted.
Thank you. Honorable, you've been saying that you will arrest people who encroach on wetlands. Now, even though you arrest them, they will come out of jail and still encroach on wetlands. Thank you.
Thank you for inquiry. We shall put life imprisonment to those people who encroach on wetlands. Our dear judges, this granted.
Thank you. Even though you introduce life imprisonment, you may arrest one and others are still there who still encroach on wetlands. How can you solve that?
Thank you. We shall employ more security officers that will pass in communities searching for those people who are encroaching on wetlands.
Thank you. Can you tell me the percent of people who encroach on wetlands in Uganda?
I cannot tell, but we all know that it is almost like 35% of the country. Thank you. Our dear judges, allow me to rest my case.
I'm Jordan, and my question goes to my colleague from Khartoum. Have you talked about putting environmental degradation topics in the curriculum?
Yes.
What is a curriculum? Thank you.
A curriculum is a step in education where we find primary, secondary, and universities, among others. Thank you.
Thank you, the two competitive sides. We've seen, we are learning, and we are improving for the rest of the teams that didn't make it to this level. I think we are learning out some things from those ones that managed to reach the level. Can you please shake hands? as we are getting off stage.
Dear judges, we have our third term called phenomenon. Phenomenon refers to an observable event, occurrence, or fact that can be perceived by the senses or detected through scientific methods. Our dear judges, for the purposes of today's debate and resolution, this House will engage education institutions in the fight against environmental degradation. Our dear judges, first of all, education is the act of requiring new skills and knowledge. Our dear judges, we have institutions. Institutions are established organizations, especially those dedicated on education, public service, or culture. Our dear judges, currently in Uganda, people are practicing human activities that have really led to environmental degradation. Our dear judges, examples of these activities we have deforestation and also swamp drainage. Our dear judges, our plan as the affirmatives is to adopt environmental degradation topics in the new curriculum. Our dear judges, for the purposes of today's debate and resolution, this House is the Ministry of Education and Sports. Our dear judges, we believe that our plan is the most achievable, sustainable, and the best. Our dear judges, we can also help to reduce environmental degradation by putting strict laws. Our dear judges, when we put strict laws, people who practice these activities will reduce because they will fear to do those activities. Our dear judges, we are really saying that human activities have greatly led to environmental degradation. Our dear judges, our perimeters are mainly in Uganda. Our dear judges, allow me to rest my case.
Change phenomenon. This theme has four main terms in it, which are climate change, and phenomenon. My dear judges, allow me to explain the four terms in this theme. Climate. Climate is the average weather condition of the atmosphere, studied and recorded for a long period of time. Change. Change is to make a difference. Climate change. Climate change refers to the long-term change in average weather patterns driven by various factors. Phenomenon. Phenomenon is a natural event that will happen in the environment and it is not easily understood. My dear judges, allow me to give you the resolution of today's debate. The resolution states that this House will engage education institutions in the fight against environmental degradation. As the negators, we say no, we shall not engage in the education institutions. My dear judges, allow me to give you our status quo of today's debate. The status quo states that just recently have been cutting down the Mabira forests, which have caused climate change, whereby when they cut down trees, this leaves the ground bare and it will cause drought. My dear judges, allow me to give you our perimeters. Our perimeters are within Uganda. My dear judges, please allow me to give you our house. Our house is Nemu. My dear judges, allow me to give you our plan. Our plan is to engage the government in the fight against environmental degradation through arresting those people who cut down trees. Dear judges, here I rest my case.
A primary 7 pupil from Kampala. Our dear judges, as my colleague in the theme, which states that climate change phenomenon. Our dear judges, for the purposes of today's debate and resolution, this house will engage education institutions in the fight against environmental degradation. Our dear judges, we as the affirmatives, we really support it. We say yes, because people have practiced more activities that destroy the climate change phenomenon of Uganda. Our dear judges, we as the affirmatives, our plan is to adopt environmental degradation topic into curriculum. Our dear judges, how can we do it? Through forming environment rules and clubs. Our dear judges, when we form environment rules, this will help people to stop doing the activities that destroy our climate. Our dear judges, through forming environment clubs. Our dear judges, we as the affirmatives, we shall move in schools advising pupils to join clubs like debating club, MDD club, in order to grow knowing the activities that destroy the climate change of Uganda. Our dear judges, as the negators are trying to divert me, my dear competitor, note down your points. I'll be back to you in 2 minutes. Our dear judges, we as the affirmatives, point of information granted. I would like to inform the precurrent speaker that though you as the affirmers, your plan has been proposed by many organizations. Yes, they have brought clubs into schools. We have already seen them, but you're not seeing them working. Already they have cut down Marira Forest. What do they have to say about that? I will answer you saying that we have come. We shall make sure that the clubs are introduced in schools and teaching the pupils how to maintain. Our dear judges, we as the affirmatives, we shall be granted. Did you know that before they had even cut down Marira Forest, these clubs are already there and already they were doing what you've been proposing, but still it was cut down. Why? I want to know the reason. Because you're telling us, you as the affirmers, that these clubs really help us, but I'm seeing them already in practice, but the things are not working. Will they prevent us from giving back? Because when we give back, we need land. We shall encroach. What is happening? We shall encourage the people to practice family planning in order to control the birth rates. Granted, I want to tell you that family planning was introduced, I think, 1,000 years ago, but still, has it prevented us from giving birth? No. What is the source of your information? I would like to tell me.
Protected minutes. We are in a protected minute.
Our dear judges, we shall encourage school children to join MDD clubs in order to compose songs that show that really some human activities have greatly affected the climate of Uganda. Our dear judges, we shall make these people to feel morale and feel that they are really doing good through rewarding them. Our dear judges, we as the affirmatives, we have already made our plans and we shall make sure that our input in actions. Our dear judges, here I rest my case. You will be life imprisoned. This will help these people. Still, this may be a disadvantage, but it will be an advantage. My dear judges, if you want to know how this will be an advantage, reach our office. But still, there are some of you maybe won't be able to reach our office. So let me tell you, if these people have had the law that you'll be in prison just because of deforestation, then they will get their artificial intelligence will help them. No, please note that down. I'll be back to you in 2 minutes. Their humanity will help them to think. They will now think, since they have restricted us from deforestation and we need need wood fuel. Which other means can we use? I told you after 2 minutes, please. This will help them to think of other methods of getting their requirements. Like they will now think of using natural energy got from the sun, because this will even help us pupils to invent these solar panels that will help them trap sun's energy, which will help them to make electricity that they can still use in their households. This will prevent deforestation. My dear judges, I stand strong as a lion to tell you that our plan, us as NEMA, will really help citizens of Uganda, and it will be an injustice not to declare us the winners of this bid, because people, when they put our plan into practice, this will really help them to get new methods. Like now, I can see us as NEMA, we have been surveying in Kasese. We have not seen this much of solar panels. So if we introduce it in Kasese, this will really help them, and it will prevent deforestation. Isn't it, my fellows? Yes. So, my dear judges, I still stick firm as a fiddle on our plan. Allowed?
Did you say that you will put strict laws into action? Then, how will you put strict laws into action when there is corruption in Uganda?
Protected minute, please. You may not necessarily need to answer it.
Thank you, the judge, for informing her, but still, I want to inform the general public, because this is why we are here, by telling you that this Uganda of ours is developing. When we put strict laws, these corrupt leaders will live in fear. Us as NEMA, they will say, since they are arresting these people for life imprisonment, why should they practice corruption? That's why we are enforcing strict laws on such behaviors and acts. Thank you, my dear judges.
Can we confirm resolutions from the families?
This house shall sensitize communities on environmental degradation.
From the negators?
The resolution is this house shall sensitize communities on environmental degradation.
Yes, strictly we have the first farmer, please take over.
UBC Radio.
Thank you, the judges, all designated guests, fellow competitors, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bira Maria from Khartoum. Our dear judges, the fifth United States climate change phenomenon. First and foremost, allow me to explain the key terms in this theme. Climate, this is the average weather condition in a given area over a long period of time. Change is to replace something with something else. Our dear judges, phenomenon is the fact or situation that is observed to exist or happen. Our dear judges, the resolution states, this house shall sensitize communities on the environmental degradation. What is environmental degradation? This is the lowering the natural beauty of the environment. Our dear judges, are perimeter bases on the whole world. The recent research of the World Health Organization carried out on 12 October 2022 indicated that at least 27 people in the world died due to climate change. Now, as the farmers, our plans are as follows. 1. Sensitizing people about the dangers of environmental degradation by rewarding institutions that champion the fight against environmental degradation. Thank you, dear judges. Here I rest my case.
And on the opposite side, I salute you all. Well, my name is Angers Mohindo from Kigali, and I work with NEMA, National Environment Management Authority. Well, ladies and gentlemen, the panel, and the opposite side, I salute you all. My name is Angers Mohindo from Kigali, and I work with NEMA. Well, today's theme is climate change phenomenon. Climate change is the difference in the regular weather pattern, in the regular weather conditions of an area, while phenomenon is an observable event or situation. Well, our resolution is this house shall sensitize communities on environmental degradation. Let me pull the lever to define some of the keywords like sensitize. Sensitize simply means to inform. Communities are groups of people living and working together for a common cause. Environmental degradation is the lowering of the quality of our environment. Like I said earlier, I come from NEMA, so that's our house as negators. We set our parameters in Uganda. As a negator, our status scores are information overload. You're going to the community, you're going to tell them about climate change. Many things have been told to them, and you're adding more. Don't you think the stuff that they already have in their heads are dropping? They are. Lack of action. Talking about climate change has happened around, but is action taking place? No. Top-down approach, stigmatization, and limited reactions. Well, the possible solutions are, instead of sensitizing the community, which will reject your information, let's start from the head of the fish, because when a fish is brought in, it starts from the head, not the tail. But you're focusing on preserving the tail and leaving the head. So let's go to the government. The government which will come to the community after the government is found, because it's the government that led Mabera Forest, which used to be the biggest forest, to be cut so that sugar canes can be grown. So if we go to the government, dear ladies and gentlemen, instead of the community, I see it will be more effective and more action will take place. Before I rest, I felt poisoned when the affirmative side came and said perimeters. You don't set perimeters, you set parameters. If you're not sure, I refer you to dictionaries and Google. And it's, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's not degradation, because this word comes from grade, as in grading, it's degradation. And let me ask you, tell me how all those death rates that you've come to us, lining in Africa, in the world, in Uganda, how are they sensitizing the community? What are you telling the community? We are coming here to educate them, not to tell them people have died. Thank you.
Since my first speaker has already given out our status quo, perimeter, house, and the plan, allow me highlight and build on our plan. Our dear judges, we are going to sensitize people about the dangers of environmental degradation.
for allowing me here on stage once again. I salute you all and the ladies around. And before I go far, I have some simple questions I would like to ask these beautiful ladies beside me. One, why do you keep on saying that climate change is the only thing that is killing people? Do you know there are also natural changes? Dear panel, forgive me for missing something, but I would like to introduce myself again. My name is Ocheng Kelvin Prince. Two, why do you keep on saying parameters? The word is parameters, and stop saying.
Point of order.
Not allowed. I would like to refer you to Google because I have some people who can help you. Please, audience, one of you who has the phone, come help these girls. Not allowed because they're on fire. The reason that today's topic is this house shall sensitize communities on environmental degradation. One is increasing awareness. Not allowed. Okay. Creating awareness, not only in the community but also to the government. Like my speaker said, we have to first go to the head before the tail. We have to first tell the government what they can come and tell the community, not the community. How will it help itself without the government's help? Two is community ownership. Are you sure that the community allowed?
Thank you. Our dear judges, is it in order for the Honorable Member of Parliament to cross-examine us, yet it's not time for cross-examination?
Point of supplement. I, as the second speaker, I think I have the guts to come and rebut on what you've just said. Please have respect for this height. Community ownership. Like I was saying, how sure are we that the community has honored itself to do what you're telling them? Let's go tell the government. By the way, just to tell you, in 2 days' time, I'm going to the president's office face to face and tell him all these things because these people are only focusing on the communities. Two, long-term impact. How sure are we that the community? How sure are we that this is good? It is going to take a very long time for a community to work on itself.
Point of information.
Not allowed. Let's go tell the government that can help us in immediate cause. Let's be like Flash, who does not even waste a second. Us as a body, NEMA, we are there to help you. We are already helping you, beginning with the semi-arid parts of Uganda.